Evening, everyone. It's MC, 2MC of the Buck and 2MC show. I'm trying to get everything shared out on social media. Alexis cannot be with us tonight as she is okay, but I believe as some people have seen on Facebook, she was in a very bad car wreck while in Florida. Like I said, everyone is okay, but the car was totaled, and they are she and Sandra and are dealing with some of the after effects of that accident. And she is still trying to deal with everything you need to deal with after you're on vacation and your car is totaled. So please keep Alexis in your thoughts and Sandra. Like I said, they are both okay, though very sore, and there are the side effects of being in a pretty bad collision that totaled the car. So that is why she is not with us. Bobby is hanging out. I can see
I'm
him.
hanging.
I don't know if people can see you or not, Bobby.
Yeah, they can see me. Yeah. I felt bad about showing my face, but I'm here.
Bobby, you're beautiful, man. Just let the people see your face.
I'm here. What's we got in store? Tell us about this tournament.
I am going to talk about the tournament. I'm going to turn it up so I can hear you. I have been working just all day and all night, and Lord knows when I'll actually get on the road for this thing. The tournament is already underway, of course. The Wednesday game was Auburn and Florida. Florida won 69-62. That pretty much sums up Auburn's season. Hanging in there with nearly every opponent they play and just could not turn that corner and get the win. Florida will now play Kentucky on Thursday. They seeded to where they fought to be Kentucky's opponent in the second round. Obviously, there was only one first round game. There was no Vanderbilt, so no 14 seed. So just the 12 and 13s played, and you didn't have to have a second game. So that's how they worked out the fact that we have an odd number of SEC teams in this tournament. We also were keeping the call-in show going, 865-542.
Nope.
No, wait a minute. 865-424-1342. I am number dyslexic and don't do my own taxes, and now y'all see why. So don't put me in charge of the call-in show.
But you did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, though, didn't you?
I did that. So I this is why years ago, suddenly I just flip numbers and I'm like, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get somebody who does accounting to do my taxes so I don't get myself in some kind of trouble with the law. Don't need that. But the Lady Vols did exactly what they needed to do last week by beating two sets of Tigers, first Missouri and then Auburn, of course, and earned the number 3 seed outright in the SEC tourney. That's a big deal because you get that double bye. You don't have to play until Friday. Tennessee is in the latest time frame you could possibly get for the tournament, the way the things work out, because obviously they're at the 3 seed, the 1 and the 4 seed are bracketed up earlier in the day, and then if you get to that point, and the 2 and the 3 seeds are bunched down at the lower part of it, so they get the late tip time. They will go at approximately 8:15 p.m. It will be it is Eastern. It will be on the SEC network, and they get the winner of Ole Miss and Arkansas, who play Thursday night at also approximately a late tip. So nobody's got the advantage on Friday. Lady Vols won both of those games. Y'all probably remember Sunday's game. That's not too far out of our memory. Tennessee just dominated that game pretty much from the get-go, minus a little loose stretch in the second quarter. The Ole Miss game was a lot more interesting. It's a 1-point win, 68-67. Shakira Austin is an absolute handful in the league. She is a Maryland transfer, and she is one of the most talented players in the SEC. Also, those outcomes, what do they mean in postseason? Absolutely nothing. Bobby, would you agree to that? Does the postseason, what you did in regular season, basically mean nothing now?
Yeah, it means nothing. It's 0-0, time to put up or shut up. And I've seen a lot of teams over the last couple decades that didn't do too hot in the regular season and then got hot at the end of the year. That's when you want to peak, is in the tournament.
And that's all you got to do is catch fire at the right time.
Yep.
It's amazing, and this is a weird format. If you make it to Sunday in the Lady Vols case, you're playing back to back to back. If you make it there from Thursday, you're playing back to back to back to back. And if you somehow pulled a miracle and started Wednesday and got there, you're back to back to back to back to back. I think I got all those right.
I think the only place that I would say that it means what you do in the regular season means anything, I guess, is in seeding and earning buys. Other than that,
yeah,
it's free for all.
Now, let's hear from Coach Kelly and Patches. Patchy wants to join the show. During her press conference Tuesday, we got to talk to Kelly yesterday, and we asked her, do you expect an all-out fight for any team to reach that championship game? And Bobby, I'll let you cue that up.
Oh my, yes. Yes. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what seed you are. I don't care who you're playing. I don't care who you're not playing. If you're advancing, then you've really done something, because there's so much parity this year. And a lot of times it's about matchups as much as it is about seeding and talent. It's about who do you match up well, and you got to figure it out. So I think it's definitely shaping up to be an exciting tournament for sure.
It's going to be fun. And Orange Mountain Designs and a change of plans will now be in Greenville under a very safe setup at Carolina Ale House. It is at 113 South Main Street in downtown Greenville. It's walkable from the arena. It's a nice walk. It's very pretty in downtown Greenville. And Bobby, we also have the Lady Vol shirt in orange and gray to show y'all. That's the official SEC tournament shirt for Tennessee. You can get it at orangemountaindesigns.com. And obviously Terry is packing up multiple shirts to take to Greenville. She at first was not going to go because of COVID and the assorted restrictions. But then she decided that there was a safe way to be in Greenville, and she wants to be there for the fans that can get there. There's also a photo Bobby has of the flyer that Terry produced showing the hours for Greenville. When they're open, it is 3 at the Ale House. It is 3 to 6 p.m. Thursday, 1 to 5 p.m. Friday, and 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday. The store will not be open on Sunday. Terry would very much like to be at the arena watching the Lady Vols. I'll remind everyone, it's an unusual setup. Attendance is limited to 3,000 at the arena. There will be no pep band and no pep rallies at the Ale House. You just can't do that this year. But Orange Mountain Designs will be there. So please stop by, say hello, get some new Lady Vol gear. I'm going to try to pop in. I'll be all over the place as I usually am in Greenville. The good news is that for those who went before, if you've ever been to the Carolina Ale House before when Terry was there, she was set up upstairs. Well, during COVID, the downstairs area of the Ale House is closed. It's closed off. But she could set up there. So you will be in a very safe, somewhat isolated area. You will not be among people that are eating and drinking upstairs. So you can go into the bottom floor, and you can also, of course, go up to patronize Carolina Ale House. Masks are required at all times because you will not be eating and drinking while you're there shopping because there's no food or drink downstairs. So for those who struggled up those steps, or are you thinking, this will be a little bit easier when I'm downstairs? You got a little bit of good news. You can go in at the ground floor level at the Carolina Ale House. So those are our big things. Get your shirts at orangemountaindesigns.com. And if you are in Greenville or coming down for the games, or up or over, depending on your point of start, just please check in with Terry and support our sponsors. Bobby, tell the people who else we are sponsoring, who else sponsors this show. Apparently I've lost my brain today.
Blue Water Climate Control, locally owned in Knoxville, owned by a veteran, retired Navy. I believe he was on the USS Tennessee submarine. Jeremy James, he's a big supporter of all UT athletics, but when I told him he could be a part of this Lady Vol show, he was all on board. And let's support our local owned, Lady Vols, Tennessee volunteer supporters. Let's support them. You need your HVAC work done, servicing. We're getting up in the springtime. That's when you do all your spring cleaning. No better time to do your maintenance than right now. Check them out and you can book your service online at bluewaterclimatecontrol.com.
It's definitely getting warmer here. That doesn't
Beautiful
mean we
day
won't have
today.
cold spells.
Beautiful
Yes.
day today.
So before you know it, you know how it is in East Tennessee. It's nice, it's pretty, and then it's hot. So make sure you're ready for when that hot weather comes, because there's nothing more miserable than being hot in your own house. So you need help. Blue Water Climate Control can do it. Bobby and I are counting down the days. When we have a countdown of days, Bobby, we need to really have a countdown of when we can actually go to Tennessee Tap House and drink beer together.
Yeah.
That will be
awesome. And we got a caller. Looks like
All right,
Jackie's
let's hear
on
what
hold.
the
You
caller
want
has
to
to say.
talk to the caller now, or you got more you got to talk about?
Oh no, let's talk to the caller now.
All right, let's get with him. Here we go. What you got from Maria? I see you want to talk to Maria. This is Jackie.
Hey, Maria, it's good to see that smile going on.
Hey, Jackie.
My question to you is, my question to you is, in the recent press conferences, the excitement that Coach Kelly has shown has just been phenomenal. The excitement from the players is just fun to watch, and it just reminds me of watching, like some of our national championship teams. What similarities do you see amongst where our team is at this year compared to previous years when the teams advanced far into tournaments?
There's confidence. They've proven to themselves they can win and they can play with anybody. They have, even in the games they've lost, and they had six total losses. They all were games they were in. Sometimes in the last possession, and one of them at least. I'm trying to think of any that hardly didn't come down to the last possession. I think they all came down to like the last minute or two of the game. That wasn't the case in some games where you just could not turn that corner. And Tennessee has turned the corner. I'm trying to see how badly my dogs are behaving. I didn't feed them, so they're like mad, but they're gonna have to wait. Tennessee has turned that corner of not believing in themselves, because when you just struggle so much to close that door, it takes a toll on a team. They have a lot of confidence right now, and that shows. And there's also, and this is true for every team, there's been so much pressure this season in terms of COVID and COVID stoppages and the anxiety of playing in a pandemic. And to get to the end of the regular season, I think everybody just took a deep breath. They were so relieved that they got there. They obviously easily hit the minimum games of 13 by the NCAA to actually play in the tournament. You had to play at least 13 regular season games. Tennessee ended up playing 21. So I think a lot of what you're seeing is a sense of relief that, hey, we got here, we did it, we got to postseason, and confidence in themselves that they know they can play. They know they can play with anybody in the country because they've shown it.
I think they might have listened to.
I think Bobby, I think the call got dropped or.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm here.
I didn't hear what you said. I heard, I think they may have listened and then it tailed off.
So I think they may have listened a little bit to Alexis Hornbuckle. Remember the show that you guys did after one of the losses, and Alexa was just a tad fired up. And she was like, when you lace up your shoes and you step foot on that court, you got a job to do, and that's to win. And that's not just to win, but that's to just smash them. I coach a 6th grade travel team, and I used that with my kids, and we won the next tournament. But it's almost like the Lady Vols also listened to that.
They could have, or it could have reached them in other ways. I don't want to say that any players are actually listening. I know there's some parents that have been on and have said stuff to us. So you never know how information sort of gets through to the ears it needs to reach. and Tennessee just you could see Tennessee getting better each game. You could see that they were playing better, that they were getting more comfortable with each other, and that's been hard in a year where they've also had so many injuries. They've had to have a lot of different combinations out there, but it's definitely a positive direction. Now, can it all blow apart on Friday for multitude of reasons? Yes. Postseason is a roll of the dice. So I never get too up or too down about what happens in a conference tournament. I've seen it go every which direction, even back in the Pat years too, where you just don't know how it's going to go and where they're going to be. But they did themselves a favor by getting that double bye. You're not so tired. It doesn't sound like much, but that 1 day extra of not having to get to Greenville and get ready makes a difference. And it really, I think, will help this team to open on Friday.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Maria.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Appreciate you calling in. Appreciate you.
Yep.
You know why.
Thank you.
Yep. Hey, take it easy. Bye.
That was a good call. Good call.
It is a totally different week in how you prepare for a tournament. One, I mean, Tennessee does not know who it's going to play until Thursday evening. That game tips off, after 8:00. So it is 10:00 before Tennessee has a good idea of who it is playing. If the game's tight, goes to overtime, it could take even longer. So you also win or go home. So you have to prepare as if you could play 3 straight days. And that's what's on the coach's mind. You've got to be ready for your first opponent, but you've also got to be ready to have your team physically ready to go 3 straight days if you get to Sunday. So let's hear another clip from Kelly, because we also got to ask her this week, what does preparation look like the week of the SEC tourney?
So we've actually, their day off was Monday, and then we'll actually just lift, not do a whole lot also on Tuesday, just because, I think when you prepare for a tournament, you have to prepare to play for 3 games. So we're trying to prepare to play for 3 days. So we'll give them a Tuesday off. That'll help us, I think, with the rest of the week. Wednesday will look, it will be a really good practice for us, and it will be a lot of Tennessee. We'll work a lot on us. Obviously, if there are some things that we can knock out that could, prepare us for Ole Miss or Arkansas, we will do that. We'll travel, and then Thursday we'll practice in Greenville. And again, because of the late tip, we will practice without knowing who we're playing. That one we'll still probably do a little bit more of us. Some of the things we need to work on. So our shoot around time, our walkthrough on Friday will be scout heavy, to make sure that we're ready for whichever opponent that we play.
That's a nice summary of how unusual it is in postseason, because obviously you're not going to practice Thursday at 11:00 at night. Once you know who you're playing, you're by that time you got the players safely in the hotel room. So they will practice Thursday, like Kelly said, just working on Tennessee and working on their principles. The one thing to remember too is that there are multiple games going on Thursday. So Tennessee will not practice on the floor it will play on. There's no opportunity. There's games going on all afternoon and all evening. So they'll go off site. You usually find a high school gym, and that's all prearranged, where they'll go off site and do that. Also, because Friday is also full of games, your shoot around time for Tennessee, if you wanted to say, okay, Friday, we're going to shoot around at the arena on the court we'll play on that night, you'd have to be there at 8:00 in the morning. That's when your assigned time is. I remember we talked about Georgia. Their shoot around was scheduled for 6 a.m. and they just, that wasn't worth it. So if you have the players that shoot around at 8 in the morning Friday and then expect them 12 hours later to tip off at 8 p.m. and be ready to go, that it usually doesn't work that way. So what they'll let them sleep in a little bit longer Friday morning. No reason to get them up and bus them over to the arena at 8 o'clock in the morning, or actually 7:30 really, to get ready. They'll once again go shoot around off site, prepare for the scout. They'll know then, are they playing Arkansas or Ole Miss? And then they will come to the arena for the second game of the second session. The other thing different in the tournament is you can't get on the court an hour before the game. There's a game going on in front of you. So there's a lot of waiting for that game to end. And then you have to accelerate your warm up, because there's only 30 minutes between the end of one game and the start of another. And all that time, you got to get stretched out up and down the floor, shooting, layups, all of it, right back to the locker room for your pregame talk. The good news, of course, is this is this for every team. That's the way it is. Every team is in this very compressed schedule. One thing I've noticed over the years, and from watching the SEC tournament for many, many years, is that in those Friday games, for those double bye teams, the team that played Thursday has a slight advantage to open that Friday game. Number one, they've already played a game on that court. They've gotten used to the sight lines, the floor. They gotten used to the routine, the locker room, to the court. That team already has a familiarity with where it is and what it's doing. And I have seen 1 seeds and 2 seeds and 3 seeds and 4 seeds struggle in the opening quarter or opening minutes, when it used to be halves, of those Friday games, because that other team is just much more comfortable. Does it start to even out? Yes, because the higher seed starts to settle in, and but what you don't want to do against an Arkansas or an Ole Miss, which are capable of, Arkansas can put up a ton of points. Ole Miss already showed it can play with Tennessee. You don't want to spot them much of a lead. Well, you don't want to spot them a lead at all, but you really don't want to spot them much of a lead. So that's just some things to watch for in the tournament. And sometimes if you wonder, like, hey, why does that 1 seed look so out of sync? Or why that other team has had some time on that court, and it shows. They've got their legs underneath them. They're familiar with it. And it's just one of the many quirks of basketball. It's the quirks of postseason tournament too. So, Bobby, what's your intake? What's your take on teams as they're trying to get ready for a tournament? Do you like postseason conference tournaments? Do you enjoy them?
I love it. It's my favorite time of year. It's like baseball. It's hard to watch full games. Lady Vols is different. It's not like, I'm not equating basketball to baseball, but a lot of people don't, they don't start watching baseball till September, October. Basketball, the tournament, so much can happen. I've seen so many. I love the Cinderella story. I wish, I don't like the Cinderella beating us, but I just the atmosphere, the March it really is March Madness. It's crazy. You know what upsets me the most about March Madness is whenever I do one of those brackets, there's always somebody that doesn't know a hill of beans about basketball that'll win the bracket. Why is that? I've seen people pick them based on I like the colors or the mascots or whatever, and they'd win it. And people that have been watching basketball for 40 years, they don't even get out of the second round.
Yeah, that's frustrating. I think statistically, I bet if you did nothing but pick higher seeds, I bet most years it would come out ahead, but that's no fun. That's the easy way, man.
There's always an upset. There's always an upset. Always.
But the higher seeds, I don't know. I'd have to ask people that follow statistics. I bet statistically speaking, the higher seeds win the majority of the game, and the upsets are what blow up
absolutely.
Brackets.
Especially in women's basketball, I know that's true.
But the upsets are the fun part, like you said, unless it's your team, then it's no fun at all. So it's it'll be a lot. I wish we were not in a COVID year. Postseason tournaments are fun experiences for fans. It's just also different. Obviously, 3,000 total here. that arena is, I think it holds about 15 or 16, 17. It's so you got the max number even lower. And
I
but
wonder
you
how
still
much
got
this time of year really reflects on not just the head coach, but the coaching staff. How much preparation, the scouting, all that goes on, because you in the regular season, before the season starts who you're going to play. In the tournament, you don't know. There's a lot of information that has to be gathered at the last minute. You've got scouting of these teams, and we've got to play them tomorrow. You don't have that in the regular season. So I think it's a reflection of the coaching staff, the trainers. You're playing a lot more games in a shorter amount of time. This is where the coaching staffs, I think, earn their keep, tournament time.
I agree. And you'll see those coaching staffs courtside scouting all tournament long. Like the Tennessee assistant coaches, they will be at that court Thursday. They will be there late. They will be at the arena late watching to see who they play next between Ole Miss and Arkansas. And another assistant's got to keep an eye on the other bracket where they could dovetail in. If you like sleep and you're an assistant coach, a postseason tournament is not the place for you because you're not going to get much.
Yeah, but you're running on adrenaline. You have to be. It's got to be a coach's dream to be in the tournament.
Yeah, if you can cut that net down, you don't care how tired you are.
No. And I'll never forget Pat up on that ladder doing that dance, cutting down the net. I think that's etched in every Tennessee fan, that picture, that image. And remember when Tyler was a little youngin'?
Yeah.
I remember all those Tyler incidences. That's what I loved about the Lady Vols. It was a family, not just the players, the coaches, and you had Tyler involved. It was a family.
And that is one thing that has endured over the decades with Lady Vols, even through some of the tougher years. And even if you go back and look at those tougher years, my God, were they in some games too. And you go back and look at one or two games that could have changed the whole course. It's just sports will absolutely break your heart. It will give you some of the greatest joys of your life, and it will absolutely break your heart all at the same time.
That sounds like my boat.
Like your boat?
Yeah. What do they say? Your two happiest days in your life are the day you buy your boat and the day you sell it.
Yes, I've never had one, but I've heard that. It seems like a lot of work, like a lot of fun when you look at it, but then all that work that goes into like getting it to the water and back off the water and everything in between.
Yeah. Hey, we got some great comments. We got time to get some shout outs.
Before we go to the last segment of all SEC teams, I'm going to give my thoughts there. Let's go to our people hanging out with us.
Yeah.
What they have to say.
I'm going to give some shout outs and then I'll read some comments. Kimberly Ogg, Nancy Harshman, Beth Edwards, Renee Suter, all the regulars are in here, Maria. Denise Tague. Wait, did I do that right? She called in the other day. Tag. That's right.
Yeah.
Jessica Gwynn, always in here. Gail Tucker. Let's see. Sam Bell's over here on YouTube. Let's see. Some good comments. Nancy says, make sure you smile tonight. You've been smiling.
I have teeth now. See?
Jessica
I just got
wants
my teeth today.
Jessica wants to know who is going to the tourney. I have ticks for Friday only thus far. Jessica, does that mean that you're wanting to sell your tickets or whatever? Or are you making that comment to meet up with some people? But she's got ticks for Friday. Jessica wants to know your take, Maria, on Renaya and the various awards.
Yeah, that's going to be our next segment. I've got quite a few opinions on that, so I'll
reserve
come back to that, but I'm going to answer that definitely.
Let's see. Okay, here's one. Jessica made another comment. I was at the game Sunday and really appreciated that Kelly took time after the game to address the fans and allow the seniors to speak. How long has it been since we've seen one of our coaches do this? Back to Pat. I love KJH's love for the program and these ladies. It shows in her communications. Great comment. Yes, I always remember the 4 or 5 Lady Vol games I've been to. I always remember Pat coming out after the game.
They can't do that because of COVID.
Right.
They can't do the post-game radio show courtside. they do it from a distance. They have the headphones and they're separated. But yeah, I just hope we get back to normal next season.
We need to
at some point during the season. So so Kelly can walk back out and do the post game show and wave at the fans and do all the things Pat and Holly did, where you get photos after the game. You just can't do any of that now. Nobody's even allowed anywhere near the floor.
Yeah. Renee's said she won a $250 gift card doing a men's tourney bracket a few years ago, and her method was just dumb luck. She admits it. I'm glad you admit it. Gail Tucker says, do you think the seniors who kissed the floor at TBA were aware that Kelly had done the same thing at her last game there?
I don't know. Some players have done that in the past. They've gone over there. The interesting thing to me is that you see a lot of players do it at center court where the Tennessee words are, but they went over to the summit part of the floor and did it, which that was even more touching to me, that's the part they wanted to do, which because Pat Summitt last coached in 2011-12. I mean, that's 9 years ago, but she still resonates. I mean, these kids, 9 years ago, they're what, 22? So they were barely out of middle school, still in middle school. What were they? 9 years ago, 12?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so the fact that Pat resonates still so much with these young ladies, including the ones coming in. I mean, they're fully aware of who she is. That's just an indication of how strong Pat's legacy is.
And what a giant she was. What a giant of a personality. Wow.
And the day she died, a good friend emailed me and said, how does a mountain disappear? I'm like, I have no idea, but it did.
Yeah. Here's Jessica answers the question. I do have one extra one for sale. All right, anybody who wants to need a ticket to go to the tournament, get a hold of Jessica Gwynn. Maybe she'll put her email in there or whatever. Be great. Be glad.
Meet up at the Carolina Ale House.
Yep. We got one caller before we go. Let's grab this call. Actually, we got a couple. What you got for Maria and Bobby?
Hey, Bobby. Hey, Maria. My name's Adam. Have you already talked about the SEC awards?
Nope, that's what she's going to
be
next.
my last segment of the show. I did the SEC tournament and the preparation and some clips from Kelly, but the SEC awards, I got a lot to say about that in our final segment. Fans are unhappy.
Okay.
That's a good way to sum it up.
What do you've got to say about it, Adam?
Right.
I have a feeling you've got an opinion.
I feel like, so what now?
I feel like you've got an opinion.
Yeah, and I have an opinion. I have a question about it. I feel like Ray Burrell, she got snubbed, and I was just going to ask, I guess, what is the criteria in order to get first team All SEC? Also, I was going to ask Maria, who did she think was Player of the Year, and did she agree with Brian Howard or somebody else? Because I feel like Chelsea Dungy should have won that.
Those are great questions. Absolute great questions. I want to point out the coaches vote on those, not the media. We do not have a vote, and the coaches vote, and they can't vote for their own player. My top four contenders were Chelsea Dungy, Renia Davis, Ray Burrell, and Aaliyah Boston. So, I mean, Chelsea Dungy became the Arkansas's all-time leading scorer with 2,074 points. Renia Davis willed Tennessee into a top four seed with her performances in February. So I did not agree with the choice, and I don't want that to sound as if it's any slight on Ryan Howard, who is an outstanding player and certainly deserves the first team recognition. But I don't believe that in this case. I think the coaches had some other players they could have selected for Player of the Year in 2021.
Definitely agree. All right, well, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and hang up.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for the call.
Thank you. Hey, no problem. Bye.
And I'll come back. I'm going to add more about that when we get to that part to wrap up the show, but let's definitely take some more callers and comments, and Bobby could tell everybody who to thank again.
Yeah, we got some comments. We don't have any callers on hold, but you can call the show at 865-424-1342. Kimberly Ogg says, I love that the team is so confident right now that they feel overlooked. That's a good, interesting take. This show is brought to you by Orange Mountain Designs. Terry Holder at orangemountaindesigns.com has all kinds of specials going on right now for the SEC tournament. They're going to be down in Greenville. Here's an image of the shirt. I like these. I'm just now looking at them, Maria.
Cool.
They say every shot you take, every block you. I can't bring it. Is that supposed to be a takeoff of the police? Every block you take, the ladies will be watching you. That's clever.
You can tell that Terry's in our age group.
Yeah, he touched. Yep. I was telling Maria the other day, man, when I hit 50, it's like hitting a brick wall. But we had the best music ever is the 70s and 80s. So you youngins, you can feel sorry for us, but we feel sorry for you. Anyway, those are great looking shirts. Why don't you tell everybody where Terry's going to be at again? I've got that image up. My glasses aren't working and I can't read it.
Carolina Ale House. It is right there in downtown Greenville. Nice sidewalks, easy walkable downtown. 113 South Main Street. She will be there 3 to 6 p.m. Thursday, 1 to 5 p.m. Friday. So maybe, Jessica and whoever gets that ticket can make an exchange there. And Saturday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. She will not be there Sunday. And she will have, a nice assortment of items. I felt like I was going to sneeze, but who knows?
That sounded like me when I was doing my COVID test. Man, I sneezed for 10 minutes after I stuck that thing up.
Yeah, Bobby had to have a COVID test. He's okay. And he now sympathizes with every college athlete who has been undergoing this multiple times a week.
Yeah.
But 11 to 3.
And do us a favor, a humongous favor. If you love the Lady Vols, go see Terry. And then when you go there, thank her for supporting Lady Vols coverage on the Volunteer Roadshow. Easy to remember. Bucking 2MC, Volunteer Roadshow. Just say that a bunch of times so you won't forget it. Alexis Hornbuckle, Maria, and thank her for that. And tell her and buy some shirts from her. That's the best way to help Lady Vols coverage. You going to sneeze yet?
In case you tuned in late, Alexis Hornbuckle is okay, but she was in a serious car accident in Florida while on vacation, and that is why she is not with us. So please keep her in your thoughts. She would appreciate that, and we will get her back on here, obviously, as soon as we can. We all miss Alexis and are hoping for her to heal, because if anyone's ever been in a car wreck that totaled your car, you understand the physical pain that can come with that, particularly that shows up later. The pure adrenaline. I've been in a bad car wreck. The pure adrenaline, you don't even feel it. And then the next day,
true.
You feel like a whole freaking load of
bricks. It feels like you got beat up by a 400-pound gorilla with a ball-peen hammer is what it feels like.
That sums it up well, Bobby.
I've been in an accident too. That's how I know.
Our bodies aren't meant to be slammed into.
No.
Well, running around in a bunch of aluminum. The last segment of the show is, of course, the SEC postseason awards, which have caused a lot of ire from a lot of fan bases, not just Tennessee. And I want to reiterate that Ryan Howard is one heck of a player at Kentucky. She could go to Greenville and light up everybody. And she may be motivated to do so because there's a lot of chatter that the SEC coaches whiffed on that. Chelsea Dungy, who was a serious candidate at 2,074 points, all-time leading scorer now in Arkansas history, had some very interesting remarks to make. See, Bobby, I'm thinking I've got.
You need to go ahead and sneeze because now you're making me want to sneeze. You need to get it over with.
She said she did a TV interview yesterday, and she said, I think they predetermined that. She thinks the player of the year is determined before the season even starts. And she basically said, it is what it is. And is it motivation for her? Yes. Aaliyah Boston carried South Carolina. South Carolina's without any seniors in that starting lineup. They missed the seniors of last season. And she had one heck of a year. Ray Burrell, my goodness, she led Tennessee in scoring. Renia Davis, what a season. And when you have 4 candidates that I think if they had picked any of those 4, I think most people would have been okay. But boy, Arkansas fans were mad. I mean, big mad. And I don't blame them. And it does seem that there didn't seem to be much rhyme or reason to it. The first team and second team, I mean, Ray Burrell certainly made a case for first team. The coaches had 9 picks on the first team. The media, when we have to do it preseason, we only get 5. So we have to really think about it. They had 9 picks. Jordan Horston was 3rd in the SEC in average assists per game. She didn't make the second team, which had 8. Marta Suarez got all freshman team, which is good. I mean, she was hurt, but she was doing very well before that happened. Tamari Key was a defensive team. That was a 5-person team. And I mean, she had an argument for defensive player of the year. It was co-winners in this case with Leah Boston and Q Morrison at Georgia because of her steals. Renia Davis had an interesting tweet yesterday. She said, they done robbed my whole team, ... say less. And you could see some of the exchanges on social media where Tennessee players were not happy. They do feel like they were not respected, and that can motivate a team. And it's kind of motivated Tennessee all year because they were picked to finish 6th in the conference. Joni Taylor was coach of the year. Certainly can't disagree with that one. Georgia was picked to finish 9th, finish 4th. They're ranked in the top 15. I mean, that's quite a turnaround for Georgia. Gary Blair had to be in the conversation. Texas A&M won their first ever SEC regular season championship. Texas A&M only had 1 player on first team, 1 player on second. So I've got 2 theories about this. And the caller asked, what are the criteria for it? Well, basically, I'm not sure there are any because it doesn't make any sense. And there's been past years when it didn't make any sense. I think Chelsea Dungy may have hit on it pretty well when she said it was predetermined. I'm wondering if people just went and looked, and like I said, the coaches vote, or maybe they assign someone to vote for them, but that is their vote. They may have just looked at the preseason list and sort of just gone off that without really looking at what happened this season. My personal theory, because this is not the first time it's happened to Tennessee at all, where Tennessee has definitely not been really recognized the way it should on these postseason. And this is something that carries over for years and would go way back to the Pat days. But Tennessee getting these things help in recruiting. All SEC players, player of the years, defensive player of the year, all of these things help in recruiting. And a strong Tennessee is a problem for the rest of the SEC. So in the past, it would be like, hey, Tennessee doesn't need any help. We're not going to be voting a lot of their players in here. They're already dominating. Now it's like, Tennessee doesn't need to be back. Let's not get them too much attention here. And I think there is some truth to that. That is just my personal theory. There's also some truth that there's just not a lot of thought that went into this. And that's kind of the brutal truth, is that it was just sort of like Chelsea Dungy said, based off preseason. It's like you pick a front runner and you stay with them and you don't look at what actually happened during the season. Because if you were paying attention, what Chelsea Dungy did was phenomenal. What Ray did, Renia, Aaliyah Boston carried South Carolina to a 2 seed and had South Carolina was in position to win it and lost at Texas A&M. So The reaction was immediate and one of the angriest I've seen in recent years. And again, Ryan Howard is an outstanding player. This is in no way directed at her. And like I said, she may go into Greenville and say, all of y'all made me mad, talking about how it shouldn't have been me. It should have been this person or this person. So we'll see what happens.
Well, speaking of Greenville, we got a couple of callers on hold, and one of them's from Greenville, Tennessee. Let's take these calls real quick before we get off of here. I want to make sure we get these, make them really quick, and we have another show to produce after this. But we got Sam Bell, one of my best viewers from Greenville, Tennessee. What you got, Sam?
What is the way Vols going to make it to the SEC championship and make it to the Elite Eight this go around in the cool season?
What do you think, Maria?
They are certainly in the mix. I mean, they certainly have the ability to get to Sunday. You got to go through Arkansas or Ole Miss, and then in all likelihood, you got to face South Carolina, which is probably going to be a mad team after what Tennessee did to South Carolina in Knoxville. And then if you get to Sunday, you're probably looking at Texas A&M. So if you play Arkansas, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you're looking at 3 ranked teams to win the SEC tournament. That is how strong the SEC is. Can Tennessee get to Sunday? Absolutely. Can Tennessee lose on Friday? Absolutely. The SEC tournament is a toss-up this year. And whichever team can catch fire and hit shots and get enough stops, which is not always easy to do in a new gym and a different environment, will be the one holding up that trophy. In terms of the Elite Eight, I want to see brackets first. I want to see where Tennessee lands, who they match up against. The NCAA tournament so much is sometimes if you can get a team you match up well against or a team you don't match up well with at all. So I want to see brackets before I really make any kind of prediction. I mean, when the season started, the hope was that, Tennessee would be able to host an NCAA tournament, and probably I think most folks were thinking, hey, a Sweet 16, which Tennessee has missed and obviously didn't even get to play last season because of the pandemic, would be a big step. Elite Eight, it's certainly capable of doing it, no doubt. But let me see brackets first before I commit myself to that.
I learned a long time ago, don't ever bet on Tennessee in any sport, ever.
I don't bet, so I'm free and clear there. It's one vice I don't have. Thank goodness, because I'd go nuts.
That'd break your heart. All right, I'm going to get the name right this time. It's Denise Tag. How you doing? What you got for Maria?
You got it right. It's fine. I'll go with any pronunciation. Although one week you called me Dennis, but that's okay too.
I get tongue-tied sometimes.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It happens to me all the time. One thing I want to say is shame on any coach that did not vote themselves, because I think that is wrong. If they're the ones that have the vote, they should do it. And secondly, back when Tamika Catchings played, I do believe that she was National Player of the Year, but she was not the SEC Player of the Year.
Denise, your memory is good, and I believe you're absolutely correct. And that goes back to what I said, that whether it was consciously done or subconsciously done, not wanting to elevate Tennessee and make them even more prominent and more difficult to deal with. And Tennessee's a threat, because despite all of the ups and downs of the past 10 years and Pat's diagnosis and death, Tennessee is still a force in this sport, still gets so many fans, still has so much support. And I mean, Tamika Catchings not being SEC Player of the Year is just, that's hard to even fathom.
I was reading something on that, Denise, to your point is, and I may just look this up real quick, so we got just a second, but somebody brought up Tamika and her Wikipedia page and all her accomplishments. I could not believe it. And somebody was saying, "Isn't it time to name something after Tamika on campus?" But let me just read off of just a few things. And this is just in the WNBA. She won a championship in 2012, most valuable player in 11, MVP of the finals in 2012, defensive player of the year awards in 05, 06, 09, 10, and 12, Olympic gold medalist in 04, 08, 2012, 2016, rookie of the year in the WNBA in 2002. That's just in the WNBA. You should see the accomplishments in college and high school. It's just amazing. I think she gets overlooked for a legend. I think she's very much underrated.
Absolutely. And I'm up here in Indiana, and I'm a season ticket holder for Indiana Fever. And you should see the press guide. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, just, every year, just more and more and more. I mean, she's definitely one of those people that was worth the price of admission. I've had people I know say, I'd only pay to see a few athletes, and Tamika Catchings would be one of them. She's also like huge in the community. She owns a tea shop up here, and I did see something today that I think she's opening a second tea shop or moving her current tea shop. I mean, she is all over this community and has been since day one. And also, for MVP voting, she was in the top 5 like 6 or 7 times. I mean, every year she was getting close. And I really kind of think that she should have won it her rookie year, but it went to Cheryl Swoops. But I mean, she's got it all. She's got it all.
I just loved her play. She was just a defender. I don't think she got on Pat's bad side very much because she was always about her business. She was always rebounding and getting back on defense.
It took a while. She
Absolutely.
didn't come in as a freshman like that, which is why I always say be patient with freshmen.
Yeah.
Because Pat got on to her quite a bit as a freshman about her defense. And players who are that good in high school who are suddenly being criticized, it is eye-opening to them and not always welcoming to them, because you've never been told you're not that good right now. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. But boy did she change, as she became an absolute menace on defense.
Well, also Pat got on her about she wasn't wearing hearing aids, and Pat talked to her about that because I think she missed curfew time or something. Mm-hmm. And Pat told her, we've all got something. You can really pretty much use this as a platform and reach, others. And she's an amazing human being. She really is.
I agree. Tamika Catchings is
Yeah,
they literally broke the mold. They're like Pat. There's not another, not like her, on and off the court, just unreal.
Was that all you got, Denise?
I had one other subject, but I just want to throw it out there for Maria, probably tonight, since we're talking SEC, probably not the best time, but I just want to throw it out there. I saw on one of my other Facebook feeds that Texas they're not opening up the arena for anymore, but they're kind of going away from mask mandates, and restaurants are going to be at 100%. And I just think, in the next couple of weeks, maybe if you could address that on one of the shows. I mean, I don't think it probably will change the protocol on how the athletes are handled, but up here in Indianapolis, we're hosting the men's, and we, things are still pretty tight up here for us, but Texas is a hot spot, and they're going to loosen it up even more.
Yeah, I heard that. Well, I appreciate the call, Denise.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Too. Well, I think that's going to be about wrapping it up there. Are you there? Did Maria leave? What happened to Maria? Let me get her back. I don't know. I guess I'm here by myself. Maybe she lost signal. Well, where did Maria go? I don't know when she left because I wasn't watching the screen. Well, I'll just I'll just end the show. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out orangemountaindesigns.com and get this great, cool looking shirt. And go out, and if you're going to the tournament, go see Terry Holder and be sure to tell her you thank her support of Volunteer Roadshow and the Lady Vols program, because she's been a long time supporter of Lady Vols. But we're going to get on out of here. Until next time, we'll be here next week. Go Vols.